Yo, what is going on at YouTube? It is your boy GZTV back at you with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about the 74th overall episode of The Sopranos, the 9th of the 6th season. I think there's like 15 or 16 in this last season, so we are nearing a close. We're getting there. There's obviously a lot of content that's backing me up from like watching the rest of this show, but yeah, obviously like NBA playoffs is coming up. I still have to listen to disc 2 of the Metro Boomin Future album. And we're doing a bunch of 2K gameplays. 2K's been killing it with content this season so far. So, yeah, there's a new character here, and that's really about it. We're gonna kind of talk about what happens real quick, and then that's gonna be the video. Nothing too crazy going on. So let's go. So just getting into what happened. So Tony and Phil work out a deal to split the profits from the distribution of multivitamins acquired by Tony's crew. So they're deciding to undergo like a little bit of a business venture together. Phil suggests that Johnny be left out of the transaction, to which Tony agrees. They all agree. It's like, yeah, he's in jail. He's already got a lot of stuff kind of on his plate. We don't want to keep just like piling shit on there. So Chris is told by his girlfriend Kelly that she is pregnant. And Chris has had a past, with women, especially like Adriana. When she said that she couldn't have a kid, he like acted brashly. Whenever she told him some bad news, he acted brashly, and he's learned. He's kind of matured as a person from that. So now instead of like acting egregiously, acting like super aggressive and inappropriate, he's thrilled. They get married and they buy a large house, which is great. You're really happy for Christopher in this sense. So on their way home from a trip to Pennsylvania, Chris and Tony stop outside of town because Tony needs to, go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom like the side of the road at this weird like gas station place, a little like convenience store. So they see two bikers stealing vintage wine from a liquor store, which is I guess like connected to it all. As the bikers go back into the store, Chris and Tony plunder their wine. They realize like this is a perfect opportunity to take some good wine, and they be mafia members. Just classic. They have a little bond over this. It's a really good like little field trip, little break from the action for these two, even though they're still like robbing people. They'll never get away from that life. So they speed away, and Chris exchanges gunfire with one of the bikers, actually hitting him, wounding him, and he like celebrates. He's like, I hit him. And Tony's sitting there kind of like a proud father. It's a really cool moment. You really like the relationship. Like this picture here just really represents it. Just sitting back and like reflecting on everything they've been through together with this crime family. So, exhilarated, Tony and Chris celebrate at a restaurant, just having the time of their lives, which is awesome to see. It's the first time we've seen these two have this much fun in a long time. So Chris decides to break his abstinence when Tony toasts his wedding. He realizes, it's the occasion for it. It's not like he's extremely prohibited from, breaking the sober shit. He can have a little wine here and there. Obviously, it kind of turns into a problem for him this episode, which is kind of like a sad thing, but still. So, yeah, let's see. So later, as they drink more wine in the parking lot, they reminisce about good and bad times, including the day when Chris told Tony about Adriana and the feds. It gets a little serious for a second, but Christopher's using this like as a thank you to Tony for not like beating his head in for this. Like kind of having an understanding, being like a good uncle. So they express their long-lasting love and support for each other. It's a really cool moment, one of the better moments of the entire season, I think. So yeah, that's that. Why are there so many loud cars on campus? But Chris pays. But Chris pays Corky for the Rusty, partly in heroin. Yeah, Corky's obviously like a meth head. He's like a fiend, an addict. So he ends up relapsing and using heroin with Corky, spending a night of the feast of Elzier of Sabran in a stupor. So there's this like big party, this like feast that these Italian people, I'm assuming that's their tradition. Sorry, it's so fucking loud. I apologize. This is not ideal. But so yeah, during this feast, Chris relapses, which is super fucked up. Tony and his crew managed a 5-day street festival for the benefit, Paulie says, of a non-profit foundation. Obviously, it's still a little bit of a ploy. Business is business at the end of the day. These mafia guys are going to find any opportunity they can. However, a new priest has looked into the finances and tells Paulie and Patsy that their donation to the church should be raised from $10,000 to $50,000, kind of based on how much they make from it, and it's only fair. So when Paulie refuses to pay, he tells them they will not be permitted to display the traditional golden hat which adorns the statue of the saint. This is super, precious. This is super, spiritual, super important to their religion. So if, you want to get greedy, we're not going to put the hat on them, which I guess is fair. But, people are kind of questioning it when it's, parading through town because, well, it's, a huge tradition for them. I'm not really sure. This definitely has, real religious history, but I'm not really sure about this stuff, I guess. So several parishioners notice that the hat is missing, and word begins to spread that Paulie scrimped on the festival. He kind of sacrificed. He what is it? Accounted. Fuck, I can't think of that word. He's pretty much fake for the event, just wants money. Really is what I'm trying to say. So Paulie's penny pinching is blamed for an accident of a teacup ride at the festival, which leaves several people injured, including a child. The child literally smacks his head on the ride and is bleeding everywhere. It's kind of fucked up, actually. And Paulie is extremely put at fault. His ego is being attacked, all this sort of stuff. So Janice and her daughter, little Paulie is left to deal with the police investigation, what happened with this ride, So Janice and her daughter Dominica are on the ride and unhurt, but Janice pretends to develop a neck injury after hearing Meadows' suggestion that the injured should be compensated monetarily. Even though she's not hurt, she still wants to find money any way she can. We know good old Janice. We're super familiar with her on the show. So Janice presses Bobby to get the money to, press this guy, pull up on this redneck dude and, beat his ass. And he pretty much does that. Threatening the ride operator, Bobby learns that Paulie refused to pay for a repair crew or for newer and safer rides because he already had to pay and make huge donations to the church. He's being fucking cheap. This is a religious event. You shouldn't be cheap on this. I know money's not everything, especially, when we're talking about religion and stuff, but this is, really dumb of Paulie to do, really. So, in a public confrontation at the feast, Paulie refuses to compensate Bobby. He does not bow down from anything. Bobby's confronting him, getting ready to kick his ass, and it just, kind of pushes it off. So, tension lingers during Christopher's bachelor party. Tony instructs Paulie to work things out with Bobby. He realizes what's going on. He's kind of heard things from the grapevine, and he confronts Paulie. He's like, dude, you gotta make this right. So, Paulie later encounters Nucci, who's his mother pretty much his entire life, but his whole life was pretty much a lie, which has been a kind of a big thing surrounding the show for the season. She tells him that his cost cutting was not only wrong but sinful, and Paulie's like, you got the audacity to say this to me. Paulie swears at her and departs, leaving his adoptive mother in tears. Obviously, he's done that a couple of fucking times. It's really fucked up, honestly. I know that, you're living a lie. And you can't really just throw shit on Paulie all the damn time, but he does a lot of things wrong, and he's done a lot of things wrong recently. So at home, he is sleepless. Another source of stress is his fear that he has prostate cancer, which I think is something that's going to develop and become a pretty big deal for the show, honestly. Very early the next morning at the Bada Bing, Paulie sees a vision of the Virgin Mary, which is fucking crazy, because it kind of shows he's sinning, he's doing wrong things right now, and he needs to find God in this moment and pray to him and make sure all is right, is what that's telling him. So he's shook by this. He visits Nucci at Green Grove that night and sits quietly next to her while they watch the Lawrence Welk show together, and he realizes he needs to cherish life and be with people that he loves, and you just can't be an asshole and make dumb decisions your entire life. You have to actually do stuff like this, and he's gonna probably reconcile with Nucci. He's gonna have to make things right because these religious visions are really calling upon him to do that. So obviously we meet Kelly Lombardo Moltisanti, who's Christopher's new girlfriend and later wife. That was a really interesting choice by the show to kind of transition that so quickly, but Christopher's relapsed, so I think a lot is going to kind of go down here in this next episode. It's going to be super interesting. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. We will be doing a live stream covering the next episode tomorrow And then after that, we probably won't talk about the show till like Saturday, next Saturday, because we have a decent amount of content lined up for the week. It might be Friday if no one drops an album next week, which I don't think anyone is. We probably will talk about it Friday or Saturday. Just kind of count on